days are long, the effort is there, but the results don't match. They end the week exhausted but not satisfied. Busy, yes. Productive, not at all. That's the problem of our age. Too much activity, not enough accomplishment. Too much running, not enough arriving. And if you don't solve it, the danger is simple. You'll spend years in motion, but not in progress. You'll confuse effort with achievement, and you'll look back one day and wonder why all that work didn't add up to the life you wanted. The truth is, productivity is not just about effort. If effort alone created success, almost everyone would have it. Productivity is about leverage. It's about getting the most out of your time, your energy, and your focus. It's about building a system that multiplies your effort instead of draining it. And the good news is, there is a formula, not a mystery, not a secret, just a handful of ingredients, practiced consistently, that turn ordinary effort into extraordinary results. The formula has 4 parts. Put them together and something happens. You stop being busy and start being effective. You stop scattering your strength and start channeling it. You stop drifting and start directing. And when you live that way, productivity takes on a whole new dimension. So today, I want to talk about the formula, and we're going to walk through it together, step by step. And we're going to begin where it all starts, with clarity of goals. Because until you know what you're after, all the discipline, all the time management, all the energy in the world won't matter. If you want massive productivity, the very first ingredient is clarity of goals. You can't be productive if you don't know where you're going. Productivity without direction is just wasted motion. You can be busy all day, burning energy, checking things off. But if those things don't move you toward a destination, you'll end up tired and empty, not successful. That's the trap many fall into. They confuse activity with accomplishment. They think motion equals progress, but it doesn't. Running fast in the wrong direction doesn't take you closer to the prize. It takes you further away. That's why clear goals are the foundation. Goals decide what matters and what doesn't. They act like a filter. When opportunities come, you can ask if they align with your goals or is it just noise. When demands press on your time, you can ask if it belongs on your calendar or is it a distraction. Without that filter, everything feels urgent and you end up serving other people's agendas instead of your own. I remember talking with a businessman years ago who said he was exhausted. He was working long hours, running from one thing to another, yet he wasn't moving forward. The problem was simple. He hadn't defined what forward meant. He hadn't taken the time to clarify his destination. Once we sat down and spelled out his goals, financial, personal, family, spiritual, suddenly his schedule changed. The same man, same hours, same energy, but now every decision had a compass. That's what clarity does. It doesn't add more hours to your day, but it multiplies the value of the hours you already have. So let me ask, how clear are your goals? Not vague wishes, not general hopes, but specific, measurable, written goals. If you say you want success, what does that mean? How much income? What kind of business? By when? If you say you want better health, what does that look like? 10 pounds lighter, more strength, lower blood pressure? Put numbers on it. Put dates on it. Make it concrete. Because once you're clear, the world organizes differently around you. You start seeing opportunities you couldn't see before, because now your eyes know what to look for. You start saying no to things that don't fit, because now you know what you're protecting. And you start moving with a sense of purpose instead of drifting with the currents. Clarity is the first ingredient because it tells you what productivity is supposed to produce. Without it, you can't measure, You can't prioritize. Without clarity, you can't sustain momentum. Massive productivity begins with this simple truth: define the target. Once you do that, every hour becomes sharper, every effort more effective, and every step more meaningful. Once the goals are clear, the second ingredient for massive productivity is the discipline of habits. Goals tell you what matters, but habits are what get it done. Without daily habits, even the clearest goals remain out of reach. Think of it this way: productivity is never built in a single day. It's built in the string of ordinary days, one after another, shaped by what you repeatedly do. You don't suddenly become productive by working like a maniac once in a while. You become productive by setting up consistent disciplines that multiply over time. It's like planting. One day in the field won't bring a harvest, but day after day, tending, watering, cultivating, that's what brings the crop. Habits are the invisible architecture of success. They turn your hours into assets. I used to think success was complicated, but then I discovered it's really a handful of simple disciplines. Practice daily, reading a few pages, taking notes, following up on commitments, keeping promises to yourself. Small things that don't look like much in the moment, but compound when stacked over years. I remember meeting a young man who wanted to get ahead in sales. He had goals, he had enthusiasm, but no consistent habits. He would make a lot of calls one week, then slack off the next. He'd study hard for a few days, then drop the books for months. He wondered why his results were up and down. The answer was simple: he hadn't built steady disciplines. Compare that to another salesman I knew. He decided that every day, without fail, he would make a minimum of 10 calls before lunch. Rain or shine, whether he felt like it or not, 10 calls. That was his habit. And in time, that habit built a pipeline, built relationships, and built commissions. His results didn't come from bursts of energy, but from steady consistency. That's the power of habits. They free you from depending on moods or motivation. If you're only productive when you feel like it, you'll never be consistent. But if you've built habits, the action becomes automatic. It's no longer a decision, it's a pattern. And here's the truth about habits: either they serve you or they enslave you. The same way good habits build your future, bad habits steal it. A cigarette a day, a soda a day, a wasted hour a day. It doesn't look dangerous in the moment. But stack it over 5 years, 10 years, and it tells a story. The story of decline. So the question is not whether you have habits. Everyone does. The question is whether your habits are pulling you toward your goals or pushing you away from them. Massive productivity demands discipline. And discipline is nothing more than keeping your commitments to yourself. Once you've defined the right habits, the key is to stay faithful to them, day in and day out. That's how ordinary hours turn into extraordinary results. The third ingredient is mastery of time. If clarity gives you the target and habits give you the motion, time management is what keeps everything from slipping through your fingers. Time is the one resource you can never get back. You can lose money and make it again. You can lose possessions and replace them. But when you lose an hour, it's gone forever. That's why productivity is really the art of investing hours wisely. You can't manage time in the sense of making more of it. You only get 24 hours. The key is managing yourself within those 24. Most people let time control them instead of controlling their time. They wake up without a plan, react to whatever comes their way, and wonder at night why they feel behind. But those who master productivity decide ahead of time where their hours will go. They put the big rocks in first, the priorities, the essentials, and let the smaller details fit around them. I once met a business owner who said his biggest breakthrough came when he learned to schedule thinking time. He used to fill every hour with calls, meetings, tasks, and by the end of the week, he was worn down. Then he realized he was spending all his time working in his business, but none of his time working on his business. So he blocked 2 hours every week just for reflection, planning, and strategy. That one decision changed everything. That's mastery of time. Choosing intentionally what gets on the calendar and what doesn't. Distractions are the great enemy. Every interruption steals pieces of your day. And here's the danger. You rarely lose a day in one big chunk. You lose it in little slices. 10 minutes here, 15 there, until the hours are gone, and you can't even remember where they went. Productivity means guarding your time like treasure. Asking, is this worth my hour? Is this the best use of my energy? Because every yes is also a no. Say yes to something meaningless, and you just said no to something meaningful. I learned long ago to set clear boundaries on my schedule. Certain hours for work, certain hours for family, certain hours for rest, and I protected them. That's how you make time your ally instead of your enemy. Remember this, time doesn't wait. It doesn't slow down when you're tired, and it doesn't pause when you're distracted. It keeps moving. The question is whether it's carrying you closer to your goals or further away. Mastery of time is ingredient 3, because it makes sure the habits you practice and the goals you've set actually get the space they deserve. Without it, everything else unravels. With it, you start to feel the power of alignment. Every day ordered, every hour used, every week counted. That's how productivity multiplies. The 4th ingredient is energy and focus, because productivity isn't just about time. It's about the power you bring to the time. What good is a perfect calendar if you're too exhausted to follow it? What good are clear goals and strong habits if you don't have the energy to execute? Energy management is as important as time management. You can't pour from an empty cup. If your health is broken, if your body is sluggish, if your mind is clouded, your productivity will suffer no matter how disciplined your schedule is. That's why you must treat your health like an asset. Sleep, nutrition, exercise. These are not luxuries. They're necessities for massive productivity. When you rest well, eat clean, and move your body, you show up with sharper focus, stronger stamina, and better decision-making. A tired body makes sloppy choices. A healthy body makes powerful ones. I remember a friend who was ambitious, always working, always chasing, but he burned the candle at both ends. Late nights, poor diet, no time for exercise. He thought he was saving time by cutting corners on his health. But in reality, he was losing hours every day to fatigue and stress. Eventually, his productivity crashed, and he had to rebuild from the ground up, this time putting his health first. Focus is the other half of this ingredient. Energy gives you strength, but focus directs that strength. Without focus, your energy leaks into 100 directions. With focus, it concentrates into one. That's when work gets powerful. And here's something I've noticed. Focus isn't about doing more. It's about doing less, but better. It's choosing the few priorities that matter most and pouring your energy into them without distraction. Most people don't fail because they lack energy. They fail because they scatter it. You got to learn to protect your focus. Shut the door. Turn off the noise. Create blocks of undisturbed time where you can do your highest value work. Even an hour of deep, focused effort can produce more than a whole day of distracted busyness. So energy and focus work together. Health fuels your body. Focus channels your mind. And when both are aligned, productivity becomes powerful. That's the 4th ingredient. It ensures that the hours you've scheduled and the habits you've built are backed by real power. Because without energy, the machine stops. Without focus, the machine spins. But with both, the machine produces. Now let's put the formula together. Each ingredient on its own has value, but the real power comes when you combine them. Goals give you direction, habits create consistency, time management allocates the hours. Energy fuels execution. When these four elements work together, productivity multiplies. Not in addition, but in multiplication. Think about it. Clear goals without habits leave you inspired but inconsistent. Habits without time management keep you busy but scattered. Time management without energy makes you efficient but exhausted. Energy without focus leaves you strong but undirected. But when clarity, discipline, time mastery, and energy converge, the results can be extraordinary. I've seen people double, even triple their productivity not by working longer, but by aligning these ingredients. The same hours they always had suddenly produced more because the formula was complete. It's like building a fire. Goals are the spark. Habits are the wood. Time management is the structure. And energy is the oxygen. Leave one out and the fire sputters. Put them together and the fire roars. Here's how to apply it. Map your own formula. Write down your goals in clear, measurable terms. Identify the habits that will get you there. Block time on your calendar to give those habits space. Then guard your health and focus so you have the energy to sustain it. And once you've done that, step back and ask, which ingredient is my weakest link? Because the formula is only as strong as its weakest part. If your goals are fuzzy, sharpen them. If your habits are inconsistent, strengthen them. If your time slips away, take control. If your energy is low, fix your health. Each adjustment strengthens the whole system. And don't underestimate the compounding effect. A year of working this formula can produce more than 10 years of scattered effort. That's the promise of massive productivity. It's not about squeezing more hours out of your day. It's about extracting more results out of your hours. So the challenge is set. Don't leave your productivity to chance. Don't let your days get consumed by busyness without progress. Build the formula, live it, refine it, and watch what happens when direction, discipline, time, and energy all work in harmony. Massive productivity is not luck. It's not magic. It's a formula. And anyone willing to apply it can experience its results.